Hi everybody, this is Richard from COF ADV, and today we've got a really great interview with Alexei Mikhailov, who's CEO and founder of Bering Yachts. So he's the guy who started this company. And the purpose of this video is I did a video doing a bit of a review of the Bering 65, which generated a lot of interest and a lot of comments. And Bering were good enough to contact me because they wanted to talk more about the yacht and sort of address some of these comments, which I think reflects really strongly on the brand and the guys behind Bering. So today we're lucky enough to have Alexei here to answer some questions, tell us more about the Bering brand and specifically about the Bering 65. So Alexei, welcome very much to the channel.
Thank you.
Good. Maybe just to start, if you could you just give yourself a brief introduction of who you are and a little bit about Bering and why you started it?
My name is Alexei Mikhailov, and I'm a Russian and American citizen and living in America since 1993. Bering was started in 2008 as a project of one-of-a-kind boat for myself. Very quickly this boat was sold. It was Bering 55, then another Bering 55 was ordered, and one by one it became a business rather than just hobby or pursuit for ideal boat for one person. So and we were building pretty much one boat at a time until 2015. Then we switched the shipyard in China, and we had up to 3 boats under construction. And in 2013 we discovered Turkey, and we found that it's the best boat building ground on the planet at this time. And we based in Turkey since 2013. And in 2017 we closed our Chinese operation, and we're building in Antalya Free Zone, Turkey. We have 5 shops here. Currently we have 8 boats under construction and 6 more boats ordered, which we will start in nearest future. So it's a steady work. It's a lot of challenges. We have 2 145 under construction. One is going to be launched next year, February next year, and one is 1 year later. And we have several boats under 24 meters. Also, we have 121, 117, 92. So we have quite a few boats which is in charter class. And now we start to provide the charter class under 24 meters. That's the brief history. Again, 8 boats under construction and many more ordered. So
great. That's an interesting evolution, because I think I've seen that in some other yards where they start sort of in the 50-60 foot range and have gone big. And what's the largest boat you're building at the moment? It's quite a
it's a 500 gross ton charter class super yacht, 45 meter, which is 145 feet, and it's a pretty good beam of 32 feet.
Okay.
So that's the yacht. It's I think it's one of the largest in 145 foot length, because it's heavy, it's displacement, it's beamy, stocky, like all bearings. And great functionality, massive beach club, great garage, and all the amenities of the charter class super yachts.
Okay. So maybe as a segue into the Bering 65, one thing I've noticed about your design, you started, if I'm correct, with this 55, 65, it's more of a classic design, and yet your current versions are actually very modern and sort of cutting edge. very sleek and yeah, very different designs. So maybe before we get into the 65, could you maybe just briefly take us through the design evolution?
The 65 is relatively early model. We splashed the hull number one in 2013. It was hull number one, built in China. This boat have a great history. This boat travel a lot in Asia, circumnavigate Australia, and roaming Caribbean at this time. So many hours, many miles, lots of offshore passages, lots of storms behind. And so the 65, it's a great pocket circumnavigator. So this boat can carry 6 people around the world. It's have a range over 6,000 miles at certain speed, of course. And one of our boats, one of the 65s, is regularly going between Vladivostok and Phuket, which is 4.2 thousand miles, and towing 30 feet sport fishing boat behind. So it's usually non-stop journeys. So this boat can easily go for over 4,000 miles, towing pretty good tender behind, and make it in comfort and safety. Our main goal is to build a safe and comfortable vessels, safe on the first place. Here is why we choose steel over any other materials like aluminum or fiberglass. It's not give just strength, it's give you comfort because of the weight, because it's what you need to not to be thrown and bounced by waves. Also the steel gives us longevity. This hull may last for 100 years and nothing will change in the hull dimensions or its water tightness or anything. It's just normal maintenance. Our boat is we use non-flammable material because one of the worst enemy of the sailor is a fire, and more problems on the boat happen because of the fire rather than the water. So we take it very seriously. We have very good monitoring for CO, for temperature rise, for CO2, for smoke detectors throughout the boat. So we're monitoring early signs of fire. And also we have automatic suppression systems, of course, in the engine room and lazarette where machinery is. And we're using only non-flammable or how to say, the materials which not supporting the fire. I wouldn't say they're non-flammable. At certain condition they will ignite. However, without external source of heat, source of flame, they will not participate in burning process. So these materials it's include also all the upholstery. Everything we use is certified for commercial use in marine application. So no cut corners there. So our chances to suppress and conquer the fire is many times greater than on many fiberglass boats, because fiberglass is a fire hazard by itself. And if it's inevitable materials for runabout and day boats and fast boats, for heavy trawler, it would be the last material on my list to make a heavy expedition vessel. So also aluminum, it's much more expensive, much lighter. If you don't need lightweight, why would you use such a material which much less strong than steel? So that's reason why we fabricate all our hulls in steel and all our superstructures we fabricate in aluminum. Because we need weight down below our deck, below our main deck. So we virtually build our boats around center of gravity, and we monitor the metacentric height of the boat. We basically from conceptual drawings of the boat to the very end, we mine the metacentric height because there are very narrow window of comfort in relation to metacentric height. You comfortable between 0.8 to 1.2. It gives you a very, very comfortable motion. We call this boat sea kind. So they doesn't mean they're not rolling or anything else. Yes, they roll. Yes, they pitch, but they're doing it with the amplitude and acceleration which your body, your brain, your you can manage it and subconsciously compensate it rather than hold yourself with two arms. So generally this metacentric height used by commercial fishing boats because you need both hands to work, not both hands to hold yourself. So it means that inclination, and when boat get back to vertical position, is it's rather gentle motion than violent jolts. So that's why it's important to have the weight which give you inertia and have the metacentric height and low center of gravity because it's give you comfortable, manageable motion. So you can perform everything you need to perform on the boat, from basic things like taking shower and making food to something more elaborate. So anyway, our boats can withstand pretty harsh condition and keep our passengers, owners, customers comfortable. The second part, very important part of comfort, is noise. So we take it very seriously, and we bring the noise level on all our boats, even the smallest one like 65. We bring it to very bearable level, which is very close to comfort class of super yachts. So it's as quiet as super yachts. On some models, we have two-story engine room, so the engines are sitting down low. All our boats have zero angle, so the engines are generally underwater. So basically, we can cover it with the subfloor and separate the engine room on two stories, and the upper level is quite comfortable because the noisiest thing there is generator, which produces 55 to 60 dB. And also it's pretty cool because the running air conditioning can take the temperature of upper floor down, and all things you need to manage to reach it, they're all in the upper floor. So all your electrical panels, all your manifolds, everything you need to address is right there. You don't need to open hatch, you don't need to open, disassemble anything. So everything is on this plate in front of you. And the third very important aspect of comfort on a boat is ergonomics. So we pay a lot of attention to ergonomics, and we decide not to go to the size lower than 65 because our philosophy is to make liveaboard yachts where people can be big part of the year, or even permanent residents could be on our boat. So the ergonomics become vital. The storage space, the convenience of using everything, the normal size of everything, and also what we found, and I think it's how to say, we think it's very important that all our surfaces are either vertical or horizontal, exactly like in our homes. You don't see many inclined surfaces, maybe cathedral ceilings in some areas, but that's about it. So we trying to keep our walls, not trying, we're keeping our walls vertical and we're keeping our floors and ceilings horizontal. So that's add to the ergonomics because it's our human habit to live in the square rooms. So
Yes.
we just not to change it, and also everything is normal household size. We don't believe in some undersized settees, undersized something, little counters, little equipment. No, everything is normal household size. So it's same for all our models. Bering 65, in my opinion, one of the how to say, it's probably a minimal size for owner. How to say, no, it's not minimal size. It's suitable for owner operator, and at the same time, it gives you all capabilities of much larger vessel, because on this vessel you feel like you're on the 90, 80, 90-foot boat, because the displacement of this boat is over 100 tons.
Yep.
So you are in the league, displacement wise, you're in the league of much larger yachts. Again, it's paid back in comfort and slow motions and low accelerations during the motions. The 65 has 17,000 liters of fuel, which I believe about 4,000 gallons, close to 4,500 gallons. And we have a range of 4,000 miles at 8 knots, and you go slower, you go further. So it's up to you.
What's the fuel consumption at cruising speed at 8 knots?
At cruising speed, we are somewhere around 20 liters per hour.
So that's for the two engines together. That's the total.
Yeah, two twin engines. It doesn't matter. We recommend to use one at a time, but consumption is pretty much the same. You're using one or you're using two. The engine is better loaded when you use one at a time. Okay. And we routinely put shaft generators, and our electrical schematics on all boats under 24 meters is inverter type. Our generators work occasionally rather than work 24/7. So a massive bank of lithium-ion batteries is a good buffer for day, night, 2 days, 3 days, to be only on batteries with no generators running. So if generator kick in, it's just for the single purpose to charge the battery bank. So it's not giving you power into your grid. It's just charging the battery bank, and same as Tesla, a quick charge. In 1 hour, you can replenish your batteries if you run 2 generators in parallel. So you can really quick to replenish, and generators work only at the prime. You know, they load it at 80% of their capacity. They charging your battery bank and shut down. It may take an hour, it may take hour and a half, 40 minutes, whatever it takes, but you are on the silent boat, which gives no emission to the world.
Okay.
So
in the middle of nowhere, you are completely silent. It's just birds, nature, and dolphins.
That's exactly right. And on the way, we generate power by main engine. So our generators is also silent. One engine working, you got your 8 knots and you got your power.
Okay. Do you have solar panel as well? Because I'm in two minds about solar panel. I can see use on a sailing boat, but if you're running engines, I don't necessarily see the primary need. But is there any solar power on board?
Solar power is useful. We found it useful. We can generate a couple of kilowatts of the solar power in a good day. And if we talk in Caribbean or Mediterranean, it's pretty good weather during the season and off the season as well. And you will get to, depends on the size of the boat, anything from 3 to 4 kW trickle in to your battery bank.
Okay.
And if you're not using air conditioning, surprisingly, in most cases, it's enough. If you don't have a, like big company and heavy cooking and everything, so you can be on solar panel power for prolonged time. Another thing, when a boat is unattended in the marina, it's safer to leave it on solar power alone than to hope that your breaker on a power pole in the marina will not trip accidentally, and you will come back to rotten refrigerators and stinky boat. So that's at least will be enough to supply your fridges and supply your bilge pumps and supply to all the necessary things. Ship monitoring, you can check your cameras, you can check your security system, your status of your batteries and everything. So the solar panels are great in my opinion. We put them on every boat. It's still an option, but it's been chosen by about 100% of our customers.
Okay. So if I could just maybe recap and summarize a few things. But I think when I first sort of noticed Explorer boats, it was a Nordhaven, I think it was a 65, the first version, right? Which is an interesting design and everything, but it was always the fiberglass. I don't like fiberglass. You hit a submerged container. There's stories of Nordhavens hitting submerged rocks and things, and the boats are right off at that point. Whereas steel, you might dent it, you may not, and you're going to stay above the water. So that's a really interesting thing. And then I'll put into this video some photos from your website, but you have some very nice spacing of your girders, your vertical sections, which maybe we'll talk about in a second. And so when you just look at the construction, the steel, what sort of thickness of steel are you using in the hull?
Generally, we're using 10 millimeter steel plates. It's twice thicker than required for this type of vessels and this size of vessels.
Yeah,
twice.
So in the Netherlands,
and it's true for majority of what we do. Our small boats, like 65 or bigger boats under 24 meters, they build exactly like super yacht. We bring the super yacht in the smallest product of ours. Means super yacht, not that it's glossy and marble everywhere. No, the super yacht has a lot of safety factors worked into this because they all done under close control of class societies, which is not the same for smaller boats. However, we implicate the same rules to our smaller yachts. We use the same steel, we use the same piping, we use same brands of all equipment. So basically you're getting under 24 meters, you're getting a super yacht with all safety features built in, brought from charter class super yachts, with the same materials. We use same brand of door manufacturers, same brand of pumps, same brand of piping, electrical, and our labor is skilled to do a charter class yachts. So same labor is doing smaller boats. So getting a super yacht in a very small package.
Yeah, so the same guys are welding the steel, so you got the same quality welds.
Yeah, they all certified, they all Lloyd, Rena, BD certified welders. They do same job they do on super yacht, which is closely inspected. They do the same job on our smaller boats.
Yeah. So, I mean, one of the things I like about the 65 is exactly what you've gone through. It's the thinking behind the safety and security. So obviously, the safest journey is the one where you have no problems. And a lot of that goes into the design of the boat, preparing the boat, the maintenance, and then obviously the skill of the captain during the journey. So that's the safest, but then that's where you get your risk management. What could go wrong? And then you've covered a lot of things there. Fire, agree. If you look at the accident reports from the Coast Guard or in the UK, etc., fire is a big one. Fishing boats are a great industry to look at of what can go wrong. People get tired and maintenance gets slack, and you can see really the devastation of a fire or a flood. So I think what you've described is sort of a risk management approach to the boat. And then, this would be in Europe, if it was sold to a European customer, would be a CEA categorization. Is that correct?
The European, all boats under 24 meters goes into category A of CE marking.
Yep.
It's ocean with no limits, so you don't have to be a certain proximity from the safe harbor. No, you have the whole world to you.
Yep.
It's actually very, very good set of rules and regulations, and we have a surveyor which is authorized by European Union to perform survey on behalf of the CE. In most cases, it's same class society like RINA, like Bureau of Veritas, and so forth. So they all provide also their supervision and surveying of the boats under 24 meters. Of course, it's not required by US market, but European market, you cannot sell boats here which are not being supervised by CE, not supervised, certified by CE.
Okay.
So it's a good set of rules, but like I said, we use far superior, far more discriminating set of requirements which dictated by class, commercial charter class, from the bigger boats. And just recently we launched Bering 77, which is very good. It's another, how to say, it's a amplified version of Bering 65. This boat is about 60% bigger than 65 and same capable. So the capability, not in the size, the capability is in design and construction.
Yep.
So, and this boat, it's actually, first of all, under 24 meter boats, we got charter class. It's charter class, commercial charter class under 24 meters. The boat will be used and operated in Australia with a small boat charter class, and we aiming to produce majority of our boats under 24 meter in charter class because it's a good source of income for our customers.
Yep.
They can be not in the gray area. They can do charters absolutely legally, give it to management to do charter or do it themselves. So,
okay.
Not
So where I wanted to try and get to with the CE class is, we make medical device software. That's my business. And that's all about risk management. So that's under the medical device regulations. Now, I assume you have a risk management file for your boat to be able to get your CE categorization. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. And, see, it's all about safety. They don't care about how well designed your boat, what kind of lines, but it's thickness of glass, it's water tightness of doors, water tightness of bulkheads, it's damage stability calculations, it's inclination tests, physical tests, which they do on each and every boat. We incline the boat and finding it's true, not calculated, true stability figures. And our boats surpassing, of course, I would say, of course, surpassing commercial standards for commercial charter class by far.
Okay.
And in my opinion, the sea is stronger than anything. And when you own a boat, it's always chances. It's always chances. However, on our boats, you have 20, 40, I don't know how many times more chances to be safe, sound, comfortable, and not in whatever sort of danger you can imagine in the same sea condition. When another boat will have Mayday situation, it's normal working condition on it.
Yeah. So there's two things I'm sort of driving at. So in a lot of the comments in the videos I make, they're very, sometimes they're very, how can I say it, objective comments, like there's a right and a wrong. But when you're designing something, it's always a choice, and there's many ways to get an outcome and many ways to mitigate a risk, if that makes sense. And I kind of think so for me personally, whenever I've done expeditions or long trips, I've got three priorities in order, which is first of all, be safe. Second of all, complete the journey. And third of all, have fun. So I prioritize safety amongst it all. And I prioritize getting to where I want to go. And third, safety. And if I can't get where I want to go, then plan the escape routes, or plan the worst case scenario, the middle of nowhere and your engines are screwed. I don't know, you have a fire, whatever, worst case scenario. But you have a plan for that. And then, when you talk about design, it's about, for the mission. So where are you going to spend most of your time? Are you going to be in the Southern Ocean, where it's, I haven't been in a big boat. I've sea kayaked in the Southern Ocean in Stewart Island. And let me tell you, wearing your 15-foot sea kayak in the middle of the ocean, you really understand the power of those waves, right? Or are you going to be like, you shallow harbors in the Caribbean, etc. And, if you want a boat for shallow harbors, maybe that's not the boat you take for the big oceans. Maybe it is, I don't know. But there's always, I think, on an owner, when they buy the boat, they have to take extreme responsibility for themselves and their crew in the selection of their boat to make sure that they are safe and have fun and complete their mission. So my question then is, for a person who's interested in Bering, how do they approach you, and how do they talk about your boats, either a secondhand boat already made, or getting one to build, and sort of what sort of information do you give them, and how do you help them through that sales process, and then hopefully build to launch process?
Yes, most customers approach us after putting some thinking before they come to us, after they really understand exactly where they go and what they want to get, because this boat is sort of like a serious boat. It's not spontaneous purchase. It's not, how to say, emergency. It's a planned, conscious action, and they have a clear understanding of their budget. So we have no customers who taking a loan. I mean, maybe technically they do for tax purposes. However, it's a cash purchase. So the second, they pretty clear understand how, where, and in what company. So how many people going to use the boat, how frequent, and so forth. Then, of course, after we learn everything, we finalize the model, because we have quite a, under 24 meter especially, it's a lot of variation of very similar space, so space-wise, very similar boats. So some of them better suitable for Caribbean with a draft of 5 foot, like Bering 70. And some of them is better suitable for Arctic expedition, like Bering 77. So you see not a big difference in size and volume. It's manageable by owner operator still, but they can completely change their ideas of where they want to cruise, how far they want to go, how much of autonomy they need, and about the options, like to answer a question, we will start from the beginning. We put function as a most vital thing which we build in the boat around. First, we ask, how is it going to function? What is this boat? What is it for? Do we need this? Do we need that? Like, how many staterooms? Like, the function of the boat first, and the form is service the function. So we will get our bow as high as we need it, as high as it needs to be. We will make so many bulkheads as it needed for safety in case we have penetration in the hull or something like this. So it's everything, then function, safety, and then form. And form, I wouldn't say it's a secondary. Yes, it's but however, it's a same like interior design. Yes, we do custom interior design. However, it's not that important. The boat is not getting safer, or it's maybe getting more comfortable to certain people, and to certain people more uncomfortable. So it's all individual. Same like preferences. Somebody, especially American market, they perceive Bering 65 better than Bering 70, let's say, and European vice versa. The Bering 65 and the salty look of trawler is not appealing to European clientele. So that's basically a general thing. However, Bering 70 and Bering 65 function the same way. We build it around functioning. Some customer asking to bring some features from the boats which not designed to be at sea. These boats designed for the marina. They have balconies in the bow. They have weird things like they open all the bulwark. Everything is hinged. Everybody, it's like a little transformer. And they don't understand that a good wave will take it and throw it up into your face, right directly to your face. That's usually.
That's an interesting point, because you see these stern garages, which I hate, because anything that's movable at sea will break at the wrong time. And
Exactly.
even if your garage is not doesn't go into the main boat, you've still got a few tons of water flooding the rear of your boat, which maybe means you take a wave over the stern or you can't steer. I'm not sure what, but moving parts at sea, I think, is just the most horrible idea. My view only, but other people can make up their own mind. But it really, but what you're telling me, you can build to the owner's preference within the limits, I guess, of the fundamental whole design.
Yes, we learn how to say no very firmly. We will say no to any suggestions which will jeopardize the usability or safety on the first place of the boat. So I happen to have 5 years of experience in commercial fishing in the far east of Russia, in the Okhotsk Sea. So it's kind of sobering experience. You see what the mother nature can do to a metal, twisted metal on the bow of the boat. You cannot imagine the force which doing it, and this force is out there.
Yes.
So you're fortunate not to see it, but it's out there. It can squash the fiberglass boat like a tin can, like nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to build something substantial that it can survive in something terrible. That's about the one.
No, exactly. And if your safety plan is to never be in that situation, that's a very poor plan, because Murphy's Law will say one day, especially as you accumulate hours at sea, something will come up and you'll be in a situation that, well, maybe you can't handle, or even worse, your boat can't handle. Well, both are bad, right? You can have a good boat with a bad captain and end up in a bad situation, just like a good captain with a bad boat. And look, this is not the conversation we're having, but I'm assuming by the time your customers, well, good question. The people who buy your boat, how many of them are first-time owners? So their life dream is to do around the world, and they will accumulate their ocean experience with your boat for the first time. How many of those versus maybe this is their second or third boat, and they've already got a lot of ocean miles? What's the sort of experience range of your customers roughly?
It's from zero to very, very extensive experience. For some people, it's a first boat. And for some people, it's what they call it's the last boat. They finally found what they looking for. They don't anticipate to sell it in 5 or 10 years. They want to use it and give it to their kids. The boat is designed and made for this. It's made for years and years of service. And some people very conservatively to thinking about what they're going to do on this boat. Some of them say, honestly, we will never go out of Mediterranean and Adriatic. It's plenty to see, and we have no desire. Some people say that we go first thing, we go to the Norwegian fjords, then we cross in the ocean, we see Iceland, we see Golden Passage of United States and Alaska. I mean, just a very grandiose plan. Everything from zero to infinity.
Okay. No, that's good. Because like I said, this channel of mine is a bit of a hobby. I'd like to develop it further and go into a lot more concepts. But coming from the medical device field, it's all about, for me, risk management. And then the question becomes, what's your knowledge of the subject matter area to knowledgeably make these risk management decisions? And if you take that approach, you can have very safe, comfortable trips, even in the worst of weathers. But no, I mean, like I said, I was initially attracted to the Bering 65. Just it's a nice design, looks nice. Obviously, the Bering brand name, it evokes, the sort of these Alaskan fishermen in the Bering Straits. Well, I guess Russian fishermen too, right? On the other side, let's be less.
That's exactly right. Majority of crab is harvested in Russia, not in Alaska.
And so anybody looking to get a Bering. So you were a captain, or you were on the crewing. You were a fisherman in the.
No, I
Bering
was not
Straits,
like
or...
a fisherman. I owned the company and processing plant and 5 boats.
Okay.
So, but I was going occasionally. I was going out to sea in October, November, in Okhotsk Sea, and this is a very, very sobering experience. You see something, first of all, you would not like to see again.
Mm-hmm.
And second, you start to understand what kind of forces are out there, and they're enormous. And to make something sustainable, redundant enough to fight these forces, if you happen to be there, you have to plan hard not to be there. It's your first priority: avoidance, and one more time, avoidance. However, if things goes wrong and you happen to be there on my boat, you have many times greater chances to be well, safe, and healthy.
Yeah, that's great. We're probably nearly wrapping up. This is just one last thing I want to say is, I did a video. It was a very bad video, I think, but there's a great book about the Fastnet, I think the 76 race, where a guy did some analysis on the boats about which boats were abandoned, who died, who survived. And the biggest factor in the boats that survived was displacement, because those boats were moving less violently than the lighter sort of 23-foot fiberglass boats. And especially when these light boats were demasted, they lose another factor which is important on resisting that roll inertia. That height helps with slowing down the roll and the acceleration. And there's examples where people abandoned the boat because it was moving so violently, but they died in the life raft, but the boats were found intact. They didn't sink. It just felt like they were in danger because of the violent movement. And one of the core design principles is displacement weight is a really, really important factor in sea kindliness. So almost you would have a block of steel out there as long as it floats, and if it's heavy enough, it's going to resist. The force of these waves is like tons of pressure, right? So you need to sort of resist, have some resistance against that. And then obviously the boat absorbs these pressure in multiple ways. It's a dynamic environment. You got your slamming, your rolling, the pitching, and the combination of all these things at the one time, right? And so the displacement, so on a 100-ton boat, you're going to be a lot better off than a 20-ton boat, 20-ton steel boat or a 20-ton fiberglass boat, or these sort of things. Like I said, with 10 millimeter steel, like the Netherlands, to get your boat insured, you need at least 5 millimeter depth.
5,
So,
yeah, 5 is enough. It's safe, it's fine. But we put 10 for correct weight distribution. And of course, additional, because definitely if you plow through the coral reef, you will get just the scratch marks on the paint, nothing on the steel.
Yep.
That's a safety, and a very good description I use every now and then. Imagine the piece of styrofoam on the water next to the log, like heavy log, which sometimes get even submerged when a tall wave approach. Piece of styrofoam is moving erratically, the acceleration, it's dancing on the water. And the log is pretty much stationary. The waves are going around and the log have very slow and little motion.
Yes.
So that's what you get on heavy displacement boats. Some boats displacement, but they're not as heavy per footprint, dimensions like. So another now expedition boats are in style, and only lazy one is not producing expedition yet. All glass boats with a couple thousand horsepower engines now become expedition. Magic! We put 400 horsepower engine. Now it's expedition. It cannot go fast anymore. So we're expedition.
Yeah,
but they forgot to change the hull. It's still planing hull.
Yeah.
Semi-displacement. I don't know what semi-displacement is, but okay. Semi-displacement with the wrong engines, extremely uncomfortable at cruising speed, extremely uncomfortable, notoriously uncomfortable at displacement speed. It's why owners of the fast-going boats, they try, and when things are not perfect, when it's waves, they try to go faster, because then boat behave the way it should. But if it's too rough to speed up, they end up going displacement, and then it's a washing machine. It's a washing machine. It's why people are abandoning these boats, because you're gonna be beat to death if you live on the boat, if you will stay on the boat. Very, very understandable. So it's a wrong way. Please, guys, whoever looking at this video, do not buy this type of expedition boats. They have a huge window in the bow area. Buy it if you have intention to nicely stay in the marina in expedition boat. That's fine. That's no problem. Don't try to go anywhere.
No, that's great. And you raise a good point. I mean, there's a formula for displacement to work out if it's light, mid, heavy displacement. And it's basically need the length on the waterline, the rough displacement. It's a rough measurement you can get from most specs on the website, but it's a good one to do, right? And if I remember correctly, heavy, it goes from 0 to 500 roughly. And if you're in the 300, 350 range, you're pretty much in the heavy. I could be wrong on those numbers, so don't quote me. But it's a good formula to do when you're looking. And yeah, I mean, I think if you're buying a boat, look at the displacement numbers. And then the other one you said about the styrofoam and the log, you want a boat that's in the water, not on the water. Because if you're on the water, you're in that disturbed water. Anything that's moving, you're going to be in parallel to it. You want to be in the water and then hopefully maintaining as much of a vertical up and down as you can. Obviously, not always possible, but like you said, as long as the roll motion, the acceleration is comfortable, it's a combination of different factors. I'm not a boat designer, but there are really core things to think about. And you raised a really good point. Don't fall for the branding. Buy your boat off a Russian fisherman who's seen the boat.
Remember, comfort. I talk about comfort a lot. Oh.
Well, hopefully your boats are more comfortable than a Russian fishing boat. I'm guessing they are.
No, they actually the whole form we use a lot, especially on under 24 meters. It's a Norwegian type. It's Northern Sea, Icelandic boats, Norwegian boat, Northern England, the Shetland Island boats. They're all sort of have similar DNA. It's very deep draft, very voluminous, very heavy for the footprint, very heavy boat, and so that's what we using as a platform, same hull shapes for majority of our boats.
Okay, great. So we're nearly coming to the hour, so I'll start wrapping up. Is there anything final you want to say to the viewers before we wrap up?
Yes, always. Guys, I want you to know we build a super yacht under 24 meters. That's what we believe that will find a biggest market, will be most in demand when the people getting top quality in reasonable size. Because in my opinion, if you go over 24, it's something else. It's not your comfort. It's something. You either need to make a statement or you have lots of people, and doesn't matter how much money you have, under 24 meters will give you great experience at sea in a great safety situation with a super comfort. That's what we're aiming for. We aim to make all our boats under 24 meters to be and feel like super yacht.
Right. So
That,
last question then. If people want to contact you, what's the best way to contact you? What's your website, social media, etc.?
yeah, we have a website, so you can contact from any page of our website. You can contact us. We have a YouTube channel, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Oh, everywhere is our information. It's hard to miss us. You would like to be contacted, you just have to send a quick inquiry through our website and our representative. We have office in Fort Lauderdale, in Bahia Mar, where the Fort Lauderdale Boat Show taking place. We have office in Monaco, and we have office in Moscow. So, and of course, office here in Antalya, where I am right now. And our shipyards are here. And so you will be attended immediately if you find our telephone number or our email.
Perfect. Okay. Well, that sounds good. Well, thank you very much, Alexei, for your time. I really enjoyed it. Hopefully the viewers did too. So now the viewers can look at two videos. My first one, they can disagree with me, that's fine. They can listen to Alexei, it's his boat, his company. So the company started from his building his own boat. So that's really putting your money where your mouth is. So yeah, it's up to the viewers, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and who knows, maybe we'll have the opportunity to speak again. So thank you really for your time. Very much enjoyed it, and wish you a good end to the day.
Okay, super. Thank you, Richard. Great talking to you.
If you want to find out more about Bering Yachts, please visit them at their website at www.beringyachts.com. Thanks for watching.